I can only encourage people to like use AI in the way that is aligned for you. Like use it in a way that makes sense for you, for your business, and for that outcome. And one of the things that our team is going to implement, because it's now happened twice, where a client has taken work that we've given them and they, instead of verbalizing what they'd like to see changed, they're throwing it into an
Yep.
AI tool and prompting it.
Yep.
And
And then saying, make it look like this. And it's like,
exactly.
why are you even paying me?
And that's where I had to push back and I had to say, listen, that's not cool for us because the reason that we're turning out a design that we've turned out, there's all this, you're seeing the end result. You're not seeing the process, like how we got to there and why this is going to be a good thing and why we can't run this merch design because that has 14 colors in it. And you told us you could only have a 3-color design because we know that from when we worked with you 3 years ago. So I can see why clients want to do it. And I can understand like the motivation of like, I can't verbalize what it is. Go educate yourself on how to verbalize what you want to say,
Right.
or trust that we can figure it out. Greetings and welcome back to the Kiss My Aesthetic podcast. You know her, you love her. She's your AI auntie on social media. Welcome back, Lauren.
Hi, thanks for having me back.
Oh my goodness, how much has changed since the last time we talked? I just looked, the last episode we did together was about ethics and AI back in December, and we've lived a million lives since then. How would you describe what's happened with AI as of late?
I mean, as of late is a interesting way to put it because as of late could be the last 6 months, the last freaking week. I mean, just in the last week, we had Google I/O, and so much from that just was announced in terms of things that are going to change, like search. But I think in general, the tools are moving so fast that even if we had only talked a month ago, we would still have so much to talk about in terms of the rapid just development of how these tools are getting better and just smarter, and more people are learning how to use them in different ways. And I think that's probably the biggest change, is that just the better they are, the faster and better they get, because they've just taught themselves how to get better. And so we're now living in a world that almost didn't feel like it would be where it is now 6 months ago, but we're here. Like we've got agents, like real agents that are doing work for us in our sleep half of the time. So it's definitely changed the quality of video, the quality of images, the quality of outputs. Like everything has just gotten a lot better, if that's even believable. But
It's interesting because you're deep in it, right? Like you have an AI based business. You teach people about how to use AI. Do creative direction using AI. You, of everyone that I know, like does this actually as a living. So I'm so excited to kind of get inside of your brain a little bit. But for all the ways that you just described of how much better it's gotten, it feels the public sentiment has gotten way worse and like a hell of a lot worse. What pushback have you seen? I know before we recorded, you said I can't even get on threads anymore because it feels like everyone's AI bashing. And I feel like I want to defend it and like sit and give them alternatives or different ideas, different things to think about. What's been your experience with that of kind of like the public perception versus the actual innovation that's happening?
yeah, I think, two truths can be held. So I'm not here to say that like any of the things that people are rallying against AI about are not real and not real problems. But I also think that, the everyday user is not the person to be directing that anger or disdain towards. It's more of, who are the people that are building these, and could they be doing them, building in different ways, right? Obviously the data centers are one of the biggest issues that people have, and they are problematic, right? We're seeing, the water in Georgia looking like it's just running out of a river into people's, bathtubs and sinks, and that's not okay. That was from a Meta data center. But I think the thing that a lot of people just automatically say, oh, a data center means AI. And that's not necessarily accurate, right? Like it's a Meta data center. So while you're sitting here criticizing people on threads for using AI, you're on threads, which is a Meta tool, which is also, using these data centers that are being built. So I think
That's
that's,
such a valid point.
that's one of the pieces that I think a lot of people, and I also think if you're anti AI, you immediately just are, going to see what you want to see. And so
Sure.
that's your perspective of it. You hear data center, you're going to immediately just say, oh, well, that's AI. It's like anyone that's using AI is wasting a bottle of water every ChatGPT prompt. And it's like, that's not accurate either. Like, I think there's a lot of misinformation, a lot of disinformation, and a lot of willingness to just accept what someone saw on one carousel post one time. And then that's their truth. And it's like, is that really accurate to what is happening? But outside of like the data centers, there's obviously just the, oh, it's making us dumber and it's making us lose our critical thinking skills and it's cheating and it's stealing. And it's just like everyone has like a million different issues with it. And it's not to say that I don't believe that some of these things could be done differently, but it's here. And I know that people don't like to hear that, they don't like that it's here because it doesn't have to be. They don't like that there's no opt out, but it's like, I'm not the one, like, I'm just trying to help you guys figure out how to make it work for yourself. Because if you don't, and the whole you're going to get left behind thing feels kind of fear mongering. But at the same time, it's like if all of your competitors are using this tool to help themselves and you're not, where does that leave you? So I think that's, kind of my perspective on that piece of it.
Yeah, I think you're striking a chord. I know for me personally, people have been asking me, like, oh, are you using AI? Are you using AI? I'm finding myself reaching for it less. And I am finding myself when I am using it, I'm going in for like one very specific purpose, one very specific outcome, which is most often filling a deficiency that I have, which is I never learned Photoshop. So I am going to be using AI to give me mockups and renders and texture and lighting effects and control image outcomes. And that's to me always felt something that was very applicable for my business. But for writing, caption writing, even ideation, some of this stuff, the analogy I feel like that helped it stick in my brain was like when we first got access to all these tools, it was like making a smoothie. And you're making a smoothie and you have all this good like organic produce that we're putting into the smoothie. I know you and I have talked about like
Yep.
other analogies similar to this, but now the problem is like, yeah, you're throwing in your organic produce, but now you're also filling it with a bunch of other smoothies, which are also just outcomes of other AI, where it was just like this content explosion. And just because you can make 8,000 pieces of content, like, should you make 8,000 pieces of content? I
Right.
think people are getting a little bit lost in the sauce. But to me, where I'd love to like send this conversation is there's kind of different strata of influence, I think, with AI. There's like users, like base users, people that are using it in their job or using it in their daily life. Then there's the people that own the companies. And then the AI companies, right? Or the brands that are using AI agents or like feeling a lot of pressure to like do AI stuff. And then you have kind of like the giants on the hill, the Sam Altmans, the Nvidia guys, anybody that you want to kind of put in that pantheon of like the big movers and shakers, Elon Musk, etc. And I'd love for us to kind of go through each group and figure out what we think is going well and what we think like is why people are feeling conflicted. Because for me, I cut off my ChatGPT subscription as soon as I learned that they took like the government contract with Pentagon. I was like, no, like I can't be on that. And it was a superior product. Like I'm on Claude now and I do enjoy Claude, but there are things that Claude can't do that ChatGPT can. So let's walk through it. Let's kind of, whether you want to go top down or bottom up, let's figure out like where things are feeling again like optimistic and where things are feeling a little scary.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with that, and I have that same sort of moral dilemma because I felt the same way, like, when I learned that the president of OpenAI had donated, 25 million to Trump Super PAC. I was like, "Fuck OpenAI, I'm not using it."
Yep.
And then some time went on, and I started realizing that none of these companies are really, like, working in a way that is, like, completely ethical, and so
Mm-hmm.
to say, okay, well, I'm not going to use this one, but then you turn around and it's like, oh, but like Anthropic is still working with Palantir. And then it's like to turn over here and it's like, okay, but Apple still has, claims against like child labor. And so it's like, okay, are we going to literally stop using everything? Because that's
Everything.
kind of the world that we'd have to be living in if we want to kind of like live this like ethically pure tech like
It's not
experience. And
possible.
it just like isn't viable if you are running a business that requires technology, especially for like myself, where, I'm teaching people how to use these tools. And it's like, oh, if I completely just am not, and to be fair, like I don't use Grok at all because like I'm
Yeah.
not down with Elon Musk, but there's other reasons for the Grok where it's like the racial stuff and the anti Semitic stuff
Sexual.
and the, you know, undressing women and children in their pictures and not having a problem with that. And so for me, I'm like, there is a line there where I'm like, I'm not going to use that. I'm not going to teach that. Where on like the open AI side of things, I'm like, okay, well, that's my own personal, like,
Sure.
I don't love that he did that, but at the same time, if all of my students are using these tools, I need to know how they work and I need to be using them as well. So I have kind of been in this sort of like moral dilemma of like, well, what do I
Dilemma.
do here? Right. Like, because I've kind of stated that I'm not down with this, but now I'm kind of using it again. Like, what does that look like? And it's difficult because truly, like, I do think that, like, you can look at Anthropic and it's like their entire, like, not C-suite, but like a lot of the people that are higher up are women and they're building this. And I love that about that. So it's like, I love Claude, but it's like, it's hard to distinguish which of these at the top of or at the top of
Food
our
chain.
pyramid that we're building here, which is the morally best or ethically best model to be using, because it's like, to me, it's like none of them are really. And
Yeah, but
so,
then it's like then it goes to the same thing of like, okay, then are you going to not use your iPhone? Are you going to not use your
right.
laptop? Are you going to not use like I've stopped shopping at Amazon and Target
Same.
partially because I don't agree with their policies, but also because it aligns with me more to shop local and I work from home and I live alone. So like me going out to go buy shampoo and conditioner at CVS, I'm like seeing a person that it lives in my community. And so
Right.
for me, that's more aligned. So I think it is kind of one of those, unfortunately, you do have to like cherry pick which things you're going to be diehard about. But it is with AI, there's just, and I was telling you before we started recording, like every time I get on threads, I see you on there responding to people who are just absolute bashing AI and being like, but wait, asterisk, but wait. And that's hard work to do. So I just wanted to call out I can see how that could feel scary
It is. I mean, I truly believe you have to have thick skin if you are going to be
in that
educating
space.
around this space, because the comments that I get are mean. Like, they're mean. And it's not even just about like, oh, you shouldn't use AI. It's like, you're a terrible person. You have no talent. You have no, like, it's just like they go deep into it. And I've actually started a Substack about this because I'm finding that it's gotten worse than just like the technology. Like, there was a founder that had posted, and I won't say their name because they took it down, but a founder had posted about how she was using AI just in her everyday life. She was getting married and she was talking about how she was using Chrome to help, or Gemini to help her do these things. And her comments were just flooded with people that were like, how dare, like paragraphs long of like, how dare you, like tagging her sister, who's an artist, being like, what do you think about that? And it's like, it's almost like they just want to pull you down. It's not even about what it is that you're doing. It's like trying to make you feel like you're a bad person at this point. And it's like, how did we get here? Like, are we in high school again, that like this is the way that people are taking it? And I've even seen in comments where it's like, oh, well, we'll just, but like someone said that their local farmers market was using ChatGPT to create like marketing flyers. And they're like, what do we do about this? And the comments were like, bully them until they stop. And it's like, generally
Come
speaking, like,
on.
these farmers markets are run by like two people who are not like,
Yeah.
it's just crazy to me that people are going so far out of the way to try and make people feel so bad about the use of a tool that like in 5 years time is going to be so ubiquitous
Ubiquitous.
to
Yeah.
like using a computer or a phone, that it's just like nutty.
It is nutty. And it is also a thing of I feel like I see posts on TikTok or threads or something that's one girl made a video on TikTok that said, if you're gonna make an AI flyer for your company, I'm just already gonna assume that you're cheap.
Yep.
And I'm like, man, like yes, but no. And I think you and I are aligned, and this is what I talked about with Ashley as well, is like I'm all for weighing the scales of where is this making an impact and is the impact driving towards my personal mission. So
Yep.
if I can use generative AI, which I know you've helped me with so much, if I can use generative AI to help me create assets that help my client be successful, and that client is a good person with nice morals and treats people right and it wants to make a life for themselves and their family, I'm going to prioritize that over being displeased with how these companies are run. Because the other thing I think what is contributing to all of this like angst is I think people are scared to lose their jobs.
Yep.
And I think people are looking for something and not someone to blame. And I think it's also because there's just a lot of this like angst with this administration and frustration and like feeling like things are progressing in the wrong way. but they're
Yeah.
not looking at all the ways in which it could be progressing to the positive. And like, welcome to evolution, babes. Hello. Like, industrial revolution, if you're a novelist and you're writing all your novels by hand, you're mad at the printing press. Sure. But at the end of the day, if you want more people to read your novel, guess what you got to use? The printing press. Like, at some point, we can't put this Pandora back in its box.
But I do think a lot of that feeling is stemming from the way that AI is being regulated in America, because right now it's kind of a shit show. And,
Yep.
I was just speaking at Social Media Marketing World, and we went out to dinner. A bunch of the AI speakers, all of us women went out to dinner, and we were talking, and I was asking, like Dr. Nikki Sweeney, who's out of Australia, and Gemma Bonham Carter, who's in Canada. And I'm just like, what is the vibe where you guys are? Because it is very anti. And they're like, oh yeah, it's like not quite as bad as what you guys
Right.
are getting in the States, because there is this regulation and they don't have a government that is using AI to put slop fake stuff out there. So I
Yes.
think immediately people are getting the ick from what they think AI is, because it's being used by our government in such like a not ethical and unresponsible way, that it's like, oh, well, why would we support something like this when it's being used this way? And it's like, there's always going to be bad actors. And I know that's like not the best kind of like response to it, but it's like, AI isn't doing this stuff on its own. Like, the person is asking it to do these things. And so I think that also circles back to what you were saying around it's like the creativity side of things. It's like, we are creatives and we're bringing our own expertise and our own knowledge and our own experience into it to use it in the way that makes the most sense for us. Where, someone that's running a farmer's market, they know about running a farmer's market. They don't
Farmers
know about
market.
this other stuff. So if
Right.
they can use this tool to help them in that sense, like, they're going to do that. And I'm not going to get mad. I would never be mad at someone for using a tool that is helping them in their business. It's so like, even like
Right.
on threads where people are like shitting on people for using Canva. It's like, why do you care? Why
Why
do
do you
you
care?
care?
Exactly. And I think it's also like you're pointing at the wrong problem. Like, I
Right.
think it's a lot of misdirected rage, misdirected of like, oh, we're gonna bully this small person into to like so that they should know better, da 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 da. Go bully, punch up.
Right.
Like, go find the people that are the legislators, that are the entrepreneurs, that are the people building the data centers, that are the people that like trying to push back against any type of regulation. Those are the people that deserve our scrutiny. I agree. Like, punching down here doesn't really make sense. It doesn't further your case. Like, it just makes it more hostile for anybody to like participate with these things. And
Yeah.
so
You just look like a bully.
you just look like an asshole. Like, let's just call it what it is. But it is really interesting because I think it's such a Ashley had a really good analogy, which was that when airplanes and like air travel first hit the scene, it was really exciting to be part of air travel. And you've got to imagine that there was also pushback around that, right?
Yep.
And it was so exciting. It was like a to do to go on a plane, and it was expensive and it was
But
yep.
also scary, probably similar to
To her
AI.
point, she says now there's so many flights, it's so everywhere, it's so ubiquitous that you're safer in an airplane because there are regulations, because there are rules. You're safer flying in an airplane than you are driving on the road. Guess when the riskiest day to get in a plane was? The first time. Like the very first few flights, because none of that existed. FAA, regular. I mean, we're seeing that now with like the cuts that have been made to transportation and like how quickly those things can really go awry when you don't have the right safeguards in place. So, what from as someone who's like the inside of all of this, what regulations have come across your desk or like ways that you think these could be improved so that it doesn't feel like just like the wild, wild west and people getting away with absolute chaos?
I mean, I do think that like a lot of the companies are paying attention to safety. Like Anthropic is going to be considered the one that cares the most about your privacy and your safety, and I think they're doing a good job. Same with like Google. They just announced at Google I/O Gemini Omni, which is basically like a video to video, which we haven't really
Wow.
seen. So I just posted a reel today where I took a video of myself talking that I'd recorded, a 10-second clip. And I was like, oh, give me blonde hair or curly hair and change the color of my nails and put me on a beach. And it's literally the exact same video of
Wow.
me. Everything is, my voice is the same, the way that my move, my hands, all of it is like exactly the same. And I'm like, this is a
Wow.
little bit scary, because this is going to allow for just deep fakes all over the place. Now, of course,
Totally.
they're like, okay, well, we'll still have like every video will have like the Google Synth ID in it. So it's like, okay, we know that, but that's for somebody that's going to go through and like find that. Like that
Mm-mm.
doesn't, the people don't care about that. They're going to see a video in their feed and they're going to look at it and they're going to believe it, right? You can easily remove like a physical watermark. So I don't know specifically like how we regulate some of this stuff because like once, like you said, like once it's out of the box, it's out of the box. And it's like, yes, of course, it's like there are rules, but people don't follow rules. Like
Right. Right.
some people do, like
Right.
ethical people and responsible people
Right.
do, but the people that we need to worry about that are using it nefariously are not, they don't care. And so I don't know how we, I don't know. And I know that's not a good answer. Um,
But I think that that's where, again, I can only encourage people to like use AI in the way that is aligned for you. Like use it in a way that makes sense for you, for your business, and for that outcome. And one of the things that our team is going to implement, because it's now happened twice, where a client has taken work that we've given them and they, instead of verbalizing what they'd like to see changed, they're throwing it into an
yep,
AI tool and prompting it.
yep.
And
And then saying, make it look like this. And it's like, why
exactly.
are you even paying me? If
And that's where I had to push back and I had to say, listen, that's not cool for us because the reason that we're turning out a design that we've turned out, there's all this, you're seeing the end result. You're not seeing the process, like how we got to there and why this is going to be a good thing and why we can't run this merch design because that has 14 colors in it. And you told us you could only have a 3-color design because we know that from when we worked with you 3 years ago. So I can see why clients want to do it. And I can understand like the motivation of like, I can't verbalize what it is. Go educate yourself on how to verbalize what you want to say
right,
or trust that we can figure it out. But it kind of is that thing where I've had to start to put the limit and the boundary with the clients of like, I'm happy to use AI in the discovery phase and in the brainstorm phase. But in the execution phase, we need to create the asset that's going to be able to actually get physically printed on a sweatshirt, that's going to actually be able to work for you as branding. Because we're still, no matter what you create out of AI, we're still going to have to vectorize it, organize it, put it in the right files, put it in the right. And like, hopefully, all that bullshit work is what I hope that we can eventually use AI to do. I'd love to be like, here's my logo, come, export it and put it everywhere that it needs to go. Like all that, like the actual button pushing.
yeah,
But it does. I know people who have been putting in their contract, like, you're not allowed to feed my work into AI. How are you
yeah.
possibly going to manage that?
Right. And it just feel like, and I've seen that too. I've seen a lot of people saying like, "Oh, I've updated it to
I
say
don't
that like I
consent.
can
Yeah.
fire you if you use AI for feedback." And it's like, okay, sure, but like do it like I don't know. I feel kind of not indifferent, but I'm not sure how I feel about that. Same with like
Yeah.
photographers that are like, I'm putting in my contract that you are not allowed to use my images. It's like, but they paid you for those
They
images. They
paid
should be able
you.
to do with those
Right.
images what they want. They own those images once you've passed over the copyright to them because they purchased them from you. So to try and I believe personally, I believe it's like you are going to get less clients as a photographer doing
Agree.
that because we
Agree.
are moving into a world where you need to have content so fast and if you are able to take an image that somebody took of you and be like, okay, now let's do this for this spring launch that we're doing. And now I've got this great shot that feels different from what we shot 3 months ago because I don't have budget to shoot again. Cool. And I think about it as like photographers, why not lean into this? Why not be like, listen, you can use these images. And also, when you need new stuff, I can create these for you really quickly
Yep.
without having to do an
Yep.
entire shoot, without having to plan all that, without having to get a location. Like, being able to offer more and it's your expertise and you're directing the shots and you're creating these images for them on top of it but it just I worry that all of these people that are putting in contracts, hey, we don't allow our clients to use AI. It's like, okay, you're going to start losing clients.
And to the people that, and there's a few designers that I've seen do this where it's like AI versus designer, where they're
Ugh,
putting the project brief into AI and it's kicking out something. And then they're showing their work as a way to like try to prove that their work is so much more superior to the ChatGPT version or the Google Gemini version. And I'm like, you're so dumb because, like, first of all, a client is never going to know the difference until you educate them. And
right.
secondly, they may look at that first version and be like, yeah, why the heck would I pay you if I can do this for free? because to them there isn't a discernible difference. To other designers, sure, and you get
Right.
designers that come up and be like, oh hell yeah, I would never use AI, blah blah blah, and like they all pop off, and it's like you guys are just circle jerking each other now. Like you're not serving the client, you're not serving the client, so you've lost the plot here. And now to try to position yourself as the antidote or the opposite answer, this AI is only going to keep getting better because now you've given it all the information that this needs to do your job. I'm just like, okay. So every time I see those, my like butthole clenches as I'm like, oh no,
But I
no.
also think too, because those reels really freaking annoy me as well. Because as a design, it's always designers doing it. And it's like, as a
Hmm.
designer, you know, you're not taking your first output as what you're going to
No,
present. Like, that is never
no,
what is happening. It is a process. So the fact that they're trying to be like, here's what ChatGPT gave me, it's like, yeah, on the first try, and you probably didn't give it any direction. You
no.
probably were prompting it as poorly as possible to make sure that it didn't do a good job. But it's like,
Hmm.
listen, I've been a brand designer. I went to design school. I can sit in there and I can get good shit out of ChatGPT's image
Hmm.
model now, especially their new model. And it's really good. And if you have the right direction, you can get some really great stuff out of it now. And this is like recent, like in the I mean, GPT Image 2.0 came out maybe a month and a half ago, if that. So it's like, this is very new. And I don't think enough people are even aware of it to know
Yeah,
that it exists. But to that point, you and I are creatives. We understand
yeah,
all that. So to be fair, if someone, Joe Schmo, went and tried to do it themselves, they would be prompting it like the Chat GPT prompt
sure,
version, right? And it's not going to
sure.
be as good. But I think the goal of these posts that they're creating is to be like, listen, if you don't hire a designer, there's no way that you're going to get quality stuff. And it's like, no, you can. You just have to understand how to speak to it and understand all the things that
Yeah,
we would go through strategy doing. And a lot of people don't know that. So, like, we are still valuable. Like, designers are still valuable. Strategists are still valuable. But they need to understand that there is competition with AI at this point. These things are good. They are trained on all of the content that exists out there. So, when someone knows how to prompt properly, yes, it can do what you're doing. And to that point where you're like, okay, well, now we have to vectorize it and things like that. It's like, the models are getting better. With ChatGPT, you can download with transparent PNGs. If you're using Magnific, which was formerly FreePic, you can download your images as SVGs. So it's like we are getting further and further to getting full blown, I mean, Claude design, being able to create entire design systems from an inspiration image. Like I'm doing that and I'm like, holy crap.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
we're getting there.
We're getting there, but it's also the point of, I think it's to the argument of people thinking that like AI tools are going to make everyone more dumb. It's like, yeah, they can if that's what you're using it as like your end all be all source of truth. Absolutely. But you can also use it to do research that would have otherwise taken you years and years and years and years or months and months and months and like collate a bunch of data. The issue that I'm running into, and again, the reason I feel like I'm reaching for them less is I feel that the accuracy is way off on some of these tools now. Like you could give it source information and then it just like pulls things out of nowhere. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I get a lot of people that give me similar feedback where it's like, yeah, all of a sudden my like Claude or my ChatGPT is like not giving me reliable stuff. What is that all about?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that's still like an issue. Like, I've got my dad messaging me every other day being like, freaking Claude is I just spent an hour doing this and then everything it gave me was completely wrong. And it's like, yeah, it's still a robot, dad. Like it's still not completely reliable.
Mhm.
And so I think that's where it comes down to like, what are you using it for? Are you using it for something that like what you need it to be has to be perfect without you doing any oversight? And that's the other thing is so many people are using these tools as if it's like, okay, generate, copy, paste, done. And it's like, no,
Mhm.
you need to go through that and you need to iterate on it. As I always teach, it's a process. It is not just a singular prompt. You need to be having a conversation with these things as if you were having a conversation with a person. Because if you hired someone and asked them to do something and it came back as shit, you would give them that feedback and be like, what is this?
Mhm.
Why did you do this? Like, let's figure this out. Right. And so I think we still have to like think about the fact that, like, yeah, these are still like large language models. They are still going to hallucinate. However, the rate of hallucination is getting better the better the models get. It's just a matter of like, it still isn't perfect. And that's just, I think
Yikes.
that'll always be the case. And I think we just have to learn to like work with that and understand that like
It's
that's the way
again,
it is.
same is true in every industry.
Right.
Like just because you wrote a book doesn't mean you're a good author. My dad always says just because you're a doctor doesn't mean you're a good one. Like you can still become a doctor and have gone to the worst. You could have been the worst student in the shittiest medical school and you can still be a doctor. Like so yeah,
I did a thread about this actually yesterday where I was talking about how like because everyone and their mom is like trying to give like AI advice, right? And it's like, do this, try this. And I'm like, we all work completely differently. Everyone has a different tech stack. Everyone has different experience and expertise and different history. Everyone comes from different life experiences, different. Like, if I gave 50 different graphic, and it was funny because people completely took the post like in a very different direction. But I was like, if I gave 50 graphic designers the same brief, everyone's going to give you something different.
something
Someone is
else.
going to use
Yes,
Photoshop, somebody's going to use Illustrator, somebody's going to use Canva. And then on top of that, they're going to pick different colors. They're going to choose different font pairings. Some of them are going to start with sketching, and some of them are going to start with Pinterest, and some of them are going to start with strategy. And it's like everyone has their own process. And same with a chef. If you said, hey, make me some mac and cheese, some of them are going to prep their meal or their ingredients first. Some of them are going to use cheddar. Others are going to use whatever, blah, 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 different noodles. They're going to plate it differently. All of it's going to be different. And so why are we acting like AI is any different that like we all just like that we didn't go to like driver's ed AI school where we have to have a
sure.
certain number of hours behind the wheel to be able to get our license. Anyone who is anyone can start using AI, whether it's someone that has experience and is using it properly and understands how it works, or it's a Joe Schmo that downloaded ChatGPT on Tuesday and
Sure.
now they're throwing something in there and they're like, okay, cool, here's my thing. And it's like, that shit, this is good, right? And it's like, it's
Right.
all about the person that's using it. And I think when we think about that, we have to like remember that the person using it is the one that is going to be what is going to actually determine what that output is.
And to save all that rage and all that like anger towards AI is not going to fire you from your job. The person using the AI is going to fire you. Like the
Yes,
person that like runs the report that says we can no longer keep these people employed. We're going to let AI decide who's going to get salary cut first. That's it's going to be a person. So I think again too, like we have to kind of save that frustration and all of the rage and all of this crazy energy for the people who deserve it, which are the people that are like running these companies and the businesses that are putting other people out of work because they're choosing to use an AI instead.
I would agree.
Within your community and within your teaching and educating and mentoring people, what are some of the use cases that have you actually really excited? Like, what are things that have come across your desk recently if someone's like, oh, I'm actually going to use it for XYZ? And you're like, I didn't even think about that. Has anything popped in your mind recently or something from social media marketing world or any of the other talks or conferences you've been a part of that really was like, oh, shoot. Okay.
That's a good question because I think I personally like every day will like wake up, I'll hop on YouTube and I'm like, oh, I didn't even think about doing it that way. Or like, I didn't even think about doing this. Like, even just what I was talking about the other just a minute ago, where I was like, oh, creating an entire like design system based on an inspo piece. And it's like, it's truly like every day something can come up. I don't know that I've had like a ton of things that have just come to me that someone has shown me and I'm like, "Oh my god, like
Mm-hmm.
that's crazy." But I think that everyone is using it completely differently. Like
Sure.
I don't know, I don't feel like I have a good answer for that either, and I should because I'm like doing all these
No.
things, but for me, I'm like, yeah, that like a lot of the time I'm like that feels obvious, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's not the right answer, but
No.
it's like using agents to be able to do your busy work or,
Yeah.
using video to do like exploring different concepts or
Sure.
I don't know. I think
In
it's just
your best case scenario, it's 20 years from now. You're coming on the podcast for the 100th time. And what are we talking about when it comes to AI?
robots in our houses. Like
You think so? Okay. Okay. I
I
love watching the robot fail videos, though, I will admit, like pulling up that Michael Jackson dancing video where the robot trips over the stairs. Like that is some good, like America's Funniest Home Videos type shit.
I was at the wrap party for Social Media Marketing World, and I can't remember what his name is. I'm going to be an asshole for not remembering what his name was. But I got introduced to this guy, and he was showing me the videos of his two robot dogs. He
Oh,
has robot dogs. And I was like, "Are are these for real? He was like, oh yeah, they're like $10,000 each. I don't even remember what the amount was, but it was like expensive. And I'm like, okay, but like these aren't even like doing anything. Like they're not like what value other
Yeah.
like I don't know. I just felt like it was like where we're going. Like I'm down to have like some robots in my house, but like I want them to be like doing something for
Doing
me.
stuff. I'd like a robot that could blow dry my hair and one that could do my dishes and change my sheets on my bed because I'm tired of doing that shit.
Yeah, but like doesn't a dishwasher do that?
Yeah, I don't have a dishwasher.
Oh wow. Let me introduce you to
Good
something
point.
that was
Good point.
invented 50 years ago.
At least I think close to 100 years ago now. But yes, I think there's a lot of possibility. Like it's interesting because I think we're all going to have to really let go of the idea of surveillance being nefarious because you're being surveilled. Like I hate to break it to
Yeah.
you, but like your phone's listening, your cameras, your everything. Like if you truly don't want your data harvested and used against you, you better go tech free. So I
Right.
hope it gets to the point where it's like a little bit more maybe smart house, like a la Disney Channel original movies vibes. But I had a friend of mine tell me that her boss showed up to work wearing a new necklace and someone asked about it and he's like, well, what are you wearing? Is that a new like what's your new, what's going on here? He goes, oh, it records all my conversations.
See, I want one of those.
So you do? Okay.
I will because
I
like
was
and I'll
like,
tell you why. Because I'm so ADHD and like I'm really
sure.
bad at like remembering things. Like all the conversation, I'm like, I was half listening because my brain was like somewhere else. And then it's like, oh, but I forgot the important parts of the conversation. And so like I understand how like weird that is to be like, oh, everything I'm doing, I'm recording. But at the same time, I'm like, I find that would be probably pretty helpful for me to be able to be at the end of the day, be like, okay, recap. What was the important stuff that happened today? Go and put those things on my calendar. Go and put those things in a list. Go and do these things. And so when that, I don't remember what it was. It wasn't the rabbit. Was there a thing called the rabbit that like was gonna release and then it like didn't because it was not good? But I feel like or that what was the humane pin? Like there's been like a lot of
Yeah.
these different things that have kind of been like, oh,
Wearables.
this is gonna be the next thing, and then it just like isn't. And
Yeah.
so I wonder when that will kind of come to fruition where we'll have something that like really is truly going to be able to like be helpful in a way that isn't like going to freak people out. But at the same time, we've already got like Google or Meta Ray-Ban glasses. And then at Google, they just released with Warby Parker and what's the other one? Gentle Monster, I think is the other brand where they're like nice looking glasses and they're able to do a lot where she's like, hey, can you just like order my coffee ahead at the coffee shop I go to? And it like goes in her pocket, pulls up DoorDash, like orders a drink to be ordered at, for pickup. And it's like, cool, it's ready to go. And it's like, I didn't have to
Yeah.
take my phone out of my pocket. And I think that's another thing that I know I'm like
Yeah.
literally
No,
shifting
you're
gears,
good.
but at Google I/O, they were announcing Gemini Spark or Google Spark. I can't remember which it is, which is going to be similar to co-work. But the difference in this is that you don't have to have your laptop open for it to be working. You don't have to have your phone open to
It'd
be
be
working.
amazing.
So it's truly going to be working like autonomously in the background without you having to have stuff open, which to me is
Yeah.
crazy. Cause that's like
Yeah.
a lot of people went and bought like Mac minis so that they could have like a computer that was always on that was running. But it's like now it can be happening in your pocket without you having to worry about
I
it.
think I really see those possibilities. Like I really see the possibilities of the wearable tech stuff. My Ray-Ban Meta glasses are amazing. Like, and I hate that it's coming from Meta, but
Right.
but it's the best phone call quality of any pair of headphones or devices that I can use. I could be standing next to the train at the dog park, full volume, and can talk to my 95-year-old grandmother. And she asked me, "What phone do you have? This sounds like so clear."
Yeah. I wear
And
mine
it's
on my bike
literally my
ride
glasses.
so
Yeah.
I can listen to my music so I don't have to have headphones in. And then I can also
Mhm.
just be like, okay, like record this like shot.
Yes.
And like I love mine too. And I hate that they're Meta. And that's why I'm like, well, I wonder what Google's will be. But then I'm like, is Google any better? I don't freaking
Any
know.
better. But to your point of like having everything recorded and then getting a summary at the end of the day, I wonder if all of this advancement in technology and AI is going to give more opportunity for neurodiversity and to have basically people who are more neurodiverse to give them the tools to then be able to like level the playing field in a lot of way. Like could this be a way to help someone who is ADHD, who is like is even on the autism spectrum, like could it give them more opportunity to then relate to more people And that's also a beautiful mission, right? Like that's also very aligned of like, yeah, let's make it so that we're not just building everything on the prototype of the straight white man that works a 9 to 5 job and makes $45,000 a year in 1965. Like
Yeah.
that has not existed for a very long time. And we're not going back to that. So
Yeah.
it is interesting because I think, again, I still, at the end of the day, am an AI optimist, but I also have team members of mine that are absolutely anti AI, will not touch it, don't want to be around it, are vocal about not wanting to use it. And I said, well, I want you to know, like, I'm not where you are, but let's have the
Right.
conversation. Let's have the conversation.
Yeah.
Challenge me, push me, bring it to the table. Like, let's talk about it. Let's talk about, I get that it's not aligned for you personally, but I don't know if this agency can afford to pay you to do the manual labor that we
Right.
could then do with an AI tool, a literal tool.
Yeah. We had this conversation when I saw
Yeah.
you in real IRL
Yep.
in January,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, I had a client recently, we did a one-on-one, and she called me like a week later and was like really upset. And I was like, what's wrong? And she was like, my designer just quit because she doesn't like that I use AI, because her dad was laid off because of AI. And so now she is so anti AI. But it's like, as a designer, you got to understand how helpful this can be. But some people are just so willing to just like, it affected them in some way. And so it's just like, nope, I'm not even considering the idea. But it's like, you're using it and you don't even know you're using it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if you want to be anti AI, then that's one thing, but then go live in a bunker, because your
Yep.
Netflix, your Meta, your Apple, like everything has AI baked into it now, whether you want to believe that or not. And so many people are like, oh, don't use ChatGPT, go back to Google. It's like, nope, Google's literally just changed search completely. Like that's no longer an option for you. Like that is, and that's going to affect
Mhm.
people that don't even want to use it. It's like, your
Mhm.
website is not going to be
Too
shown to
bad. Yeah.
people anymore.
Yeah.
It's not. And so it's like, you have
Right.
to understand that you've got to figure out ways to be getting your content in front of people with the idea of like large language model optimization, because whether you want to use it or not, a lot of people are using these tools, and that's how they're finding what companies they want to work with. And that's how they're finding professionals and services that they're going to use. And if you're not showing up there because you're so anti AI that you're unwilling to even adjust your own business to work in a world that is AI forward,
Mhm.
you're going to struggle.
Well, and your option is to go do the things that AI can't do. Go to networking events then. Go work on your public speaking skills. Go do research, actual physical research. Go find, like, we're just going to you're going to have to, you're going to have to change your business because,
Right.
to your point, and I don't mean to say this in a fear mongering way at all, but like, it's like people being threatened by Canva. It's like, why would I want to gatekeep the success of my clients if I could empower them to do their own thing? Guarantee the slides that I create are going to be better than the slides that they create. And if anything, I saved my clients ass when she presented at World of Coffee because she put all of her slides together. She used ChatGPT, she used her color codes, she got all the information into there. It was a very well thought out presentation, but the translation from GPT to Canva, the whole thing was a chaos
Yeah.
disaster. And so I said, please don't use these slides. Please let me come in and fix them. Like, I would love to come in because this is going to be someone's first impression of your brand.
Right.
And we need to make sure that this exposure to your company looks and functions in a way that's going to be easy for people.
Yeah.
So, like, there is still that opportunity as a designer. But if I told her categorically, no, you have to work with me, no, like that would have been opportunity lost. So
Yep.
I think, again, it's like, to each person's comfort level, I just think to be too much on either side, which is unfortunately like the way that the world works these days,
Right.
you're missing the gray area. And I think a lot of this is going to come from the gray area. It has to.
Yeah, I agree. And I think like even myself, like I'm, your AI auntie, but it's like,
Yeah.
if you go look at my Instagram, like there is plenty of content on there that is not AI.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like I'm constantly showing up in talking in reels with my own face. Like I'm not going and making like clone video, like today I did, but that was an example of showing like what exists. But it's like, I personally am like turned off by that, because I'm like, listen, I need authenticity right now, like at least from you, so that when you are posting like AI images, I still know that like who you
There's a
are,
person
and
there.
you're not
Yeah,
like
you're
this.
not like AIing yourself into like a penthouse apartment with a pantsuit on every time you're addressing your audience.
Right.
That's not real.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think, and even with like content, like I can sit here and I can look at all these people being like, oh my God, look at what you can do. Look at what you can do. Look at what you do. But it's like, it's still a process to get good content out of AI. You still have to know what you want, how to get there, and then you have to be able to look at it and be like, does this look good or does it look like shit? And a lot of people don't understand that what they got out of there is looking like everyone else's stuff because they gave it no creative direction. Or and then they're on here like on threads like, why does everyone's stuff look the same? It's like, because generally speaking, I don't think most people understand that AI is going to come to an average if you don't direct it. Anything you don't tell it, it is just defaulting to the average. And the average is gradients and a sans serif font, and that's it. And it's gonna go to like, oh, Poppins. Let's use Poppins and a purple gradient. And it's like, no, there's a reason that you're hiring a designer because they're getting you away from that sort of thing so that you don't look like everyone else. So
And the consensus that all AI looks the same means that you are not paying attention to the brands that have very obviously used AI so well that it's undetectable to you.
right. And that's the problem is they don't know, they can see, and then when people are like, everything sounds the same, it's like, only what you're seeing as bad AI
Bad.
is what you're
Yeah.
blocking as AI.
Right.
Because there are plenty of people like myself where it's like I have written plenty of Substacks where I'm using AI for the majority of it, where I'm like working with it and it's going back and forth. I'm like, okay, here's my concept. Let's outline this. Okay, let's write this
Mhm.
first paragraph. I go in, I come back and edit it. And it's like, yes, it's partially me, it's partially it, but it's like no one's out there complaining like, oh my God, this was AI, because it's like, no, it sounds like
Mhm.
me because it
Mhm.
is me. It's just using this tool to help facilitate it.
Perfect example, like I use AI to help me with the podcast outlines for the solo episodes. To talking for 27 minutes like about a complex topic in a way that somebody else can understand is difficult. And so if I can get AI to help me, here's my concept, here's the things, here's some examples of when I've run into this issue, give me an outline, I can reference the outline, but guess what? I'm still saying it, I'm still adding in all of my personal anecdotes, I'm still giving examples, I'm still tangenting off to different things because I'm not reading from a fucking script.
Right.
I'm using it as a framework and then I'm filling in the bits that make sense so that by the time you're listening to it, I'll absolutely own the fact that I use AI to help write the outline. But that's how people understand information. You have to put things forward with your thesis, your first paragraph, second paragraph, third paragraph, conclusion. And if you can't communicate in that type of way, or you're the kind of person that gets ping ponged all around, it doesn't make for a good listening experience. It's
Right.
much better to say, here's what I'm going to talk about. Here are the things. I'm going to go through each one. And at the end, you're going to walk away with this. That is a better experience as a user. So if I, at the end of the day, if I care about the end user experience, that's more important to me.
I
However,
agree.
I'm not going to have it write every single sentence I'm going to say.
Right.
I'm just not, because that's not natural to me. That's not realistic. And then I'm reading a teleprompter and then who cares? Then I might as well have generated it out with an agent.
Yeah. And I think that's also interesting too with like the script and like reading off of a script. Like now you go on Instagram and it's like every other reel is somebody reading off of a teleprompter. And I'm like, so do you actually know what it is that you're speaking on? Do you have the expertise to be speaking on this? Or did ChatGPT write you a script and now you're reading it? How do I know whether I should be trusting you to be a
Right.
expert on this topic if every post you have is either a carousel or
Yeah.
you reading off of a script? And I get like a lot of people are like, no, but I use that to help me organize my thoughts. And I'm like, I get that. But at the same time, like, I don't know. I don't know. And it's like obviously newscasters read off of
Totally.
scripts and
Totally.
teleprompters, but I don't know. It just gives me like this just weird feeling. Not like I'm like not gonna trust you, but
Right.
it's gonna make me probably question if you know your shit or not. And you better have some better examples of how I can understand if that is accurate or not, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's just kind of, it's obvious to us because we're in it and we use it. But I think the reality is like the average consumer, they don't know.
Yeah, you're probably right.
And so AI gets like lumped in as that's just saying like internet. Like that's like saying, like we've
It
said
is
before, like
true that like majority of people are uneducated. Yeah.
uneducated about it. And so because of the way that our government is running in this administration and like their incessant use of really shitty, terrible AI content is how people are being exposed to it. I think that's a lot to do with the negative sentiment because people dislike this administration, myself included, don't like the way they're using AI, myself included. But then the buck can't stop there. There's just like there's a tiny use case, influential but tiny.
Yeah.
So, yoinks. What a crazy
Yoinks
world.
is right.
What a crazy world to live in. Well, if people want to learn from you because they love what you said here and they're like, all right, I'm in, where can I find more information? How can people find you, follow you, get in touch with you?
So I'm your AI auntie with AUNTIE. I found out somebody has a your AI auntie with a Y. That's not me.
Oh, interesting.
But come find me on Instagram. That's where I post like a lot of my content. I've also got a free school community called the Launchpad that you can find links in my Instagram bio. I am launching a new paid membership called Ante Up that is going to be more if you want to like stay up to date on things as well as being able to get just like more sort of content, Claude skills, prompts, things like that just kind of keep you in the know. And then I've got my Foundations of Photography course that you can go to fofcourse.com for that. And I've got some GPTs and skills that'll help you with all sorts of stuff. But yeah, that's kind of the gist of what I've got going on right now. No
Love
website
it.
because here I
That's
am
all
5
right.
years later with still no website.
Hey, you know what? We do what we can, and there's only so much time in the day. So I'm sure you could, with everything that you've ever put into your GPT models, you could probably get some help in building a website.
Oh, I mean, I've got like 3 different ones started, like like half built that I'm just like,
Of
oh, is
course.
this what I want? Right? It's
No,
always
you know
that.
what? It's very good to know that like you also have things that you have not done, because I have that about a lot of things in my business that I get embarrassed about, and then I'm like, you know what? I just have to remind myself that other people also have things on their to-do list.
Oh, 1000%. I've got a million different things on my to-do list that have been waiting 5 years to happen and probably will never happen. So, but you know what? That is proof that even without a website, if you've got a community
Yeah,
that you've built in different places, like I've had people in my school community, and it shows me like where people are coming from. I had somebody the other day that said that they came from ChatGPT. So ChatGPT served up my school community. And then I had somebody comment on my Instagram being like, oh, I found you because I did this long tail keyword search in Google asking about something about Claude and it served up your Instagram. So it's like, it's not even just your website now. It's like making sure that you are like, you've got your shit all over the place because AI can find all of those different things, those blog posts, those podcasts, all of it. So just make sure that you've spread your seeds across all of the technology.
spread your seed is gross.
I agree. It's what came out, okay? Don't spread your seed.
Spread your knowledge.
Yes.
Spread your something
your name.
else.
Get your name out there, your content and your expertise and experience.
Oh, can you tell we're recording on a Friday? Because now I got the giggles.
Of a long weekend.
Of a long weekend. Well, thank you so much, Lauren. If you loved today's episode, guys, don't forget to send it to a friend, save it, share it, leave a comment, DM either of us. Our DMs are open. Everything will be linked in the show notes. Yeah, and let's debate. I mean, I think you and I are both people that if you feel strongly in the opposite direction, like please, like our DMs are open to you. We'd love to hear your feedback and maybe open your mind up a little bit to other realities. Is all.
Yeah. But don't be a bully.
Thanks so much. Don't be mean. Don't be mean. Be nice about it. Bring back debate club. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Bring back just like a good old fashioned debate without name calling. Oy. Yikes. Anyway, thanks so much, Lauren, and we will catch you next time, guys. Bye.
Bye.